Are you happy with the way fucking things are going right now, either in your own personal life or in the world at large? Because I sure as the hell am not. But don't get it twisted. I'm at a better place in my life than I've ever been. But the thing is, the farther along I go on my journey, the more I realize how deep I was in the fucking hole. So that's really what this is aimed at, is to you out there who's in the fucking hole, somewhere on your journey of trying to find your way out of it. You're looking in the world, you don't know where to turn for solid advice. You tried this, you tried that. Some of it gets you so far, but ultimately, none of it's really adding up to what you're looking for or what you think it should. Because as much as I feel like shit right now, because I'm working through a fried nervous system and years of bad programming, doubt, self-pity, and what have you, I wouldn't rather be anybody else. I wouldn't rather be anywhere else. Now, how can you reconcile that? How can you say I feel like shit, but I'm better than ever? If you were born into a system, into a world, into an environment that raised you, that brought you up to be an addict or a worthless eater, someone who is a non-contributing member to society, someone who just does not know for the life of you how to get your shit together, welcome to the party and the struggle to get out of it. You know, I was just talking to my wife the other day about how our parents' generation, they didn't think about us. I mean, they might have provided, for myself, I was provided food and shelter, if anything, an excess of food, which actually contributed to my addictive personality, because food for me was a drug that was given to me essentially to shut me up. But nobody in there, maybe even though they were providing food and shelter, they weren't providing life lessons. They weren't teaching me how to fucking walk in this weird world. And again, it sounds like more complaints, but I'm not saying this just so you can be my therapist. I'm saying it so that you can come to grips with these thoughts and feelings within your own space, so that you can begin to work with your own situation to come out of whatever hole you might be stuck in, any type of self-pity or addiction, what have you. Drop it in the comments what your fucking affliction is. I mean, I could go on and on, but this is a dynamic, so tell me what yours is. Are you happy with the way things are? Are you content? Do you feel that gnawing feeling in the background that something is just not wrong, that the way we've been trained and conditioned to live is just incorrect, but you don't know where to go, where to turn? It seems like every avenue you maybe pursue that seems promising to help you out of it, you find some hustler or charlatan on the other end who really doesn't have the full picture either. I'd love to be able to get into these videos and start talking about solutions, because I found some solutions for myself, though the picture isn't yet complete for me either. But we got to talk about the problem first. What's the problem? What's your problem? I've given you a little bit about my problem. Now tell me what yours is. Then we can get into solution thinking. But if you don't have a stomach to be honest with yourself about the fucking problems, if you can't deal with that gnawing voice, that feeling that something is just terribly wrong with the way things are going, you can't really hope to find a solution. And that's why I'm grumpy as fucking happier than I've ever been, because I've learned, and I'm still learning, to be honest with myself. Learning to be honest that yes, I was and am in still some ways a useless eater. Yeah, I'm fucking overweight. Yeah, I got back problems. Yeah, I got this and that and that and this, but this life that we live is precious. And if you hear that screaming that something's wrong, then I bet you know in your heart too that this life is supposed to be a lot more than what our current paradigm allows for us to partake in. But who says what we're allowed and what we're not allowed? Or is it our own compliance with the status quo that has left us in a position where we've accepted living a life that is less than what we truly know could be? Is it fear that drives you? Is it love? Or are you like me, somewhere in the middle? loves what you're pursuing, and fear is that fucking thorn in the side of your ass that you just can't seem to shake. I feel fear every day, every morning that I wake up. And I have to find it within myself to remember. Piss off, fear. All you've ever done is lied to me. Everything that 95% of what my mind has ever conjured up is some fear and its catastrophizing turned out to be a lie, and I made it through all of that stuff. But meanwhile, I'm living in a hell of my own thoughts without ever knowing how to truly challenge it. 42 years old and I'm still just starting to figure it out. Fuck fear. There's a good fear too. There's a fear that says, you probably shouldn't go jump off the edge of a cliff. That's a legitimate fear. Certain fears about other things, about the way people perceive you, and other superficial fears, take an inventory. They've all been lies. All those things in your head that you were scared of, or so many of them, turned out to be lies. Some of them turned out to just be warnings that actually should be heeded. But anyway, even right now I feel it, like I should apologize for speaking. That fear is right here, right now, telling me you're stupid to make this video, you're foolish. People are gonna see through you. They're not gonna value what you have to say. Yeah, and you know what? That's fine if you don't. I know, or I'm beginning to learn my own value. And that's the aim in doing these things, to start a conversation, because you need to learn your value too. And I'm sure if you've been watching this, then you're having issues with that just like I am. Because what are we measuring ourselves against? What, Instagram, TikTok reels, the fucking news are the example of our parents? Were your parents good role models? Mine sure as the fuck weren't. They loved me, I'm sure. They didn't give me a lick of sense to help navigate through this life. I have to figure that shit out on my own, and it does suck. But it's also beautiful, and that's a paradox. And so that's the thing, if you can't handle paradox, or if you can't handle uncomfortable truths within yourself, then it doesn't matter what self-help book you read, or whose videos you watch. You're gonna be lost. And what people don't tell you about awakening in this world is if you don't have a stomach for challenges and difficulties, you're lost already. You're probably in the clutches of some predator selling you shit that is never going to get you across the goal line. And what's the goal line? Well, shit, man, I would just like to feel good. I'd just like to be okay with who I am. That's a good start. And that's something I've been working on for a while. Tell me a little bit about your journey in the comments. Tell me what you're facing right now. Tell me what your fears are. Tell me what gnaws on your mind when you wake up in the morning. What paralyzes you and stops you from pursuing the life you want to live. Talk to me about it, and then I'll come back and talk to you about my point of view. And let's all do our small part to work through this shit together, because if we keep listening to the ones who operate from the paradigm of the status quo, we're all going to go over the edge of a cliff. The shit isn't going to end well, and you can feel it as well as I can. So let's start in our own little small way to contribute to adding beauty into the world, and let's start with ourselves. So here's my confession. I'm fat and I'm scared. What are you?